wanna do it all with you by my side. If you're in, meet me here tonight. Be brave and come along.
Good morning everyone, welcome to my little mini series of good old-fashioned home cooked, school cooked meals that my nan would have made. So in this little mini series, sorry about the noise, I have three dogs. Two of them are constantly playing, but they are just playing. Probably you'll see them running around. So in this little mini series, I'm trying to not reinvent, but to follow as much as I can, either remember or by being able to get the right ingredients that my nan would have had to make certain meals. Today I'm going to make sausage rolls. Now, the majority of the recipes I'm doing have a little twist because, as I've just said, some of the things aren't readily available. We have a lot more foods accessible to us these days. Well, if you can get it in the supermarkets right now, let's not go into that one. So, you know, I have to sort of change up and change around a few things. Now, for me, I've got this sausage meat here. This is pork sausage meat from Sainsbury's, okay? And my nan would have made the pastry. She would have put the sausage meat in and cooked it all in one. I, on the other hand, will cook my sausage meat, not completely, but almost until it's done first, let it cool down and then add it, because I personally do not like sausage rolls that have got the sausage meat that still looks pinky and it just doesn't look or feel cooked. So that's why I tend to do mine this way. So I am going to open up my sausage meat. Just going to lower you down a bit. There we go. So my hands are all clean. I'm just going to take this out. And sometimes I might spice this up a little bit. You can add more salt and pepper to it if you want to. And sometimes I put things like little chili flakes in it, just to change it up. But what I'm going to do now is I'm literally just going to sort of squeeze it into like a sausage shape. Sorry if I'm repeating myself, guys, but if anyone is new here to my channel, I've got a broken arm, my left one, so it's actually quite difficult to do things like this, but you know, where there's a will, there's a way, let's say. So I'm just gonna keep moulding it until I get to the sausage shape that I want. And as you can see, I'm making quite thick sausage rolls, which is one of the reasons why I like to sort of pre-cook it a bit. So a little bit long. I'm just going to fill the length of this chopping board. Need to just drag it down a bit more. Go on, down a bit more. That's it. And these go down really well for like lunches, a little bit of piccalilli or a little bit of Branston pickle. Other pickles are available on the side, and it's a lovely, lovely lunch. So I've got my baking tin here, and it's lined with some parchment paper, and I'm just going to pop that on. And I'm going to just drop it over onto it, because that's the easiest way for me to do it. I'm just going to go like that, let it fall off, there we go. I do it from side to side now. Right, I'm going to pop this in the oven. I've got my oven heated at 180 fan, and I'm going to pop this in for about sort of 15 minutes-ish, and then I'm going to have a look. Right, okay, let's start on the pastry then, shall we? So what my nan used to do, she used to use plain flour, which is what I'm using. She also used to put a little bit of salt in, which I'm going to, and this is a short crust pastry, which is what she used. Sometimes she'd do a puff pastry, but back then things like butter were really expensive, so a short crust pastry was the way that she would go. And she would use, however much flour she would use half either butter or margarine. But the other thing she did is, rather than use a complete half of the flour weight in butter or margarine, she would half the fat amount, and she would put half lard and half margarine or butter, but it was more likely to be margarine. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to pop my bowl onto the scale. I'm going to lower you back down again now. Right, so I'm doing mine in my mixing bowl. You don't have to, but I'm just going to do it in my food mixer. Purely and simply because I can't get two hands in there properly to do the rubbing in method. That's it. Right, so I'm going to pop my scales on. So I'm going in with the plain flour. If I make too much, it doesn't matter, because I can either freeze it or just keep it in the fridge for a couple of days and then maybe make a quiche or something with it. So that is going to go into my mixing bowl. Okay, I'll get a knife. So I'm now looking at 8 ounces of fat in total. So I'm going to go with 4 ounces. Reset that to 0. That's it. So I'm going with 4 ounces of stalk margarine. And then 4 ounces of the lard, or shortening, it's sometimes called, isn't it? Like I've said before, some of these recipes are really not like healthy things, but way back then, I mean, my nan was just more concerned about feeding the kids and feeding me, because I was raised by my grandmother. Right, so I'm now going to go with 4 ounces. Going in with the flour all together. That's it, all in there. And then I'm going to just put it on with the paddle until it resembles fine breadcrumbs. Right, so I'm just going to lower it down, and then what I do is put like a tea towel or kitchen cloth just over the top to stop the cloud of flour coming out. I have got a guard for it, but I've no idea what I've done with it. So I'm starting it off just on a low setting to start with. Tilt that, you should be able to see that it resembles fine breadcrumbs now, and that's what you're looking for. Normally I would have done this by hand because I just like to play and get my hands in there and to break it all down, but with this arm there's no way I'm going to be able to do it. Okay, so then my nan would have gone in with just some table salt, just what you want, you know, whatever you think you want. The other thing she then did was very decadent for back then, but she would use an egg yolk, just the egg yolk. So that's what I'm going to put in now. So I'm just going, let me move you that way, is it? Going to split the egg, take the white, that won't be wasted. I'll put that in a little bag in the fridge or the freezer, and then I'll pull that out when I next want to make a meringue. Right, so that yolk there is going in, and I'm just going to go and wipe my hands off. Okay, and now I'm just going to pop it back on again. I mean, you can use water as well. My nan would have done that, but if she had eggs, which you see she did because my nan and granddad kept chickens. So, to be honest, eggs weren't really a problem. You know, we used to help the neighbours out with eggs. And there was a fair few hens, so fair few eggs. So it was one way of always using up your egg yolk. Using up your eggs. I'll just wipe my hands off with the dishcloth for a minute. There we go, I'm going to pop it back on. You can hear the difference, can't you, in the sound that it's making, but you know it's coming together now. And then I'm going to turn it out onto a floured work surface, and then I'm going to wrap it and pop it in the fridge for a good 30 minutes. It can come out now. Do you see what I mean? You can see how short it is. Okay, let's just bring it all together. Bring all those bits together. You can see how short it is just by the fact that it does crumble a bit, but that is what you're looking for. So I'm just bringing it all together the best I can with my arm. It's just like working with one arm really, because I can't put any pressure on this one at all. But this is what I'm looking for, this consistency like that. Okay, so just scrape up all those last little bits on the worktop, push them in, don't waste them. That's it. So here's my sausage meat. So you can see it's more or less cooked. I mean, it does need a little bit more cooking inside, but it's nice and golden on the outside. And this is what I prefer to do. Because, like I've said, I just don't like the taste of it when it feels raw inside or too mushy. So this is what I do, and I'm going to leave this here to cool. I'm going to take it off of all the grease and everything, put it on the rack underneath, leave it to cool down before I make the sausage roll up. Right, so I'm just going to take my pastry out of the fridge. I've got my baking sheet here, which I've just put some baking parchment on again, and I'm going to roll the pastry out ready to pop the sausage meat in. There we go, and I've just popped this. This is just like a little silicone mat thing that I use for rolling out pastry. So I'm just going to pop some flour on. Take my pastry out, maybe a little bit more than a half, that much maybe, leave that to the side, and this is what I'm going to be working with. And as you can see, it is a short crust pastry. My sausage, here it is, onto the pastry like that. Right, so I'm just going to give it a wash with some milk, just to roll it over. I normally wouldn't use lard, but of course I'm using my nan's recipe. Okay, so now I'm going to just trim off the little bits of pastry at each end, like that. And then this is going on to my baking tray, like that. And with some of this, I'm going to make some little leaves to go on the top, just to make it, just to pretty it up. My nan always said that if it's a savoury dish, you can pop the leaves on it. If it's a sweet dish, you don't. It just has the sugar on the top. What it looks like. So it's a really nice thick sausage roll, substantial for a family to share for lunchtime or for a main meal, picnics, that sort of thing, and chop it up into like little pieces, into like little, you know, sausage roll sizes. So that is now going to go into my oven at 180 for about 25 minutes. There we are then. So that's the sausage roll out of the oven. It's still really hot. I'm going to leave it to cool down and then I'm going to cut it up, and Chris and I are going to enjoy this for lunch. And here we are then, guys. So it's all made, it's all nice and cool, not cold but cooled down. So I'm just going to cut into it, and we're having it with some of the Branston pickle. That's a small chunk pickle. So I'll show you what it looks like once it's on the plate. Look how delicious that looks. So, oh, I can't wait to get into this. And here we are. Look, it's all dished up on the plate and it looks good enough to eat, right? Absolutely yummy. If you have enjoyed this video, please give me a nice big thumbs up. If you would like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'd really appreciate it. And if cooking is your thing, then please follow me on my little mini series that I'm doing at the moment on cooking. But I also do lots of other recipes and cooking just on my channel anyway. Yeah, comment down below, smash the notification bell, don't forget that thumbs up, and as I say, I'd love you to subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye.